Shalom, everyone. We are continuing our limud of Sefer Yeshayahu. We're up to Perek Nun Beis. Remember that from Perek Mem to the end of the Sefer, which is 27 prakim, these are the nechamais, these are the comforts, these are the chizuk. Some of them are connected to specific events. Others are referring to Yemos HaMashiach and have not yet happened. Very magnificent, moving poetry in which he is speaking to a people that are demoralized, that have lost hope, and he's giving them chizuk. Now let me point out that Yeshayahu is talking about this after the exile of the 10 tribes, but before the Churban Beis HaMikdash. So when he's speaking to people who are broken and shattered, these are future generations that have not yet experienced the Churban Beis HaMikdash. And in his poetic medium, he is describing Yerushalayim, or Eretz Yisrael, as a bereft woman who has lost her children, and the children are coming back, and he's speaking to Yerushalayim as a mother who has suffered bereavement. Many of the Lashonos in L'cha Daidi that we say Friday night are taken from these psukim, so when you'll hear phrases, you'll automatically, if you know the siddur, you'll automatically be thinking about L'cha Daidi. When I was young, I actually thought that, Yeshayahu borrowed from L'cha Daidi, but of course it's the opposite. Rav Shlomo Alkabitz was much, much later. Pasuk Aleph, Perek Nun Beis. Uri from L'cha Daidi again. Arise, awake, live she uzeich Tzion. Zion. So remember, Tzion in Tanakh is not Mount Zion, but it refers to the Harabayas or Yerushalayim as a whole. Put on your strength. Live she big day tifartech Yerushalayim Mirakedesh. Put on your garments of glory, because good times are coming. There is simcha, there is hope, there is Yeshua, there is Geula. Ir HaKadosh, you will once again be the holy city. Lo Yosef Yavai Bach Od Orel V'Tamei. Your city will no longer be invaded by the uncircumcised and the impure. Now here, Orel does not refer so much to Jews who happen not to be circumcised, but it refers to the Goyim that are called Arelim. And Tamei does not refer to people who have been in a cemetery, but spiritual impurity. That Yerushalayim will be a place of holiness and sanctity and kirvas elikim. The Goyim and the spiritual destructive influences will no longer penetrate when the Redeemer comes. Hisna'ari me'afor kumi, again an expression in L'cha Daidi. Hisna'ari, shake off the dirt, arise from the dirt that you're sitting like an ovel in the dirt. Shavi Yerushalayim, sit on your throne. Hispatchi musrei tzavarech, remove the ropes that are tied around your neck, remove the chains. Shiviyah, captive woman, Bas Tzion. Kikai Amar Hashem, so says HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Chinam Nimkartim. When I sold you into slavery, I didn't take any money for it that I have to somehow give the Goyim back. You were sold, so to speak, for no price at all. And therefore, Loi Bakesef Tiga Elu, you will not be redeemed by money. There was no money they got, and there's no money I have to give them. I will redeem you because they had no right to enslave you. Kikai Amar Hashem Elikim. Mitzrayim Yarad Ami Berishena Logorsham. Mitzrayim enslaved us, but at least they had some little bit of claim because we went down and we were supported by Mitzrayim. So they have some excuse. V'Ashur, but when Assyria exiled the 10 tribes, B'Efes Ashako, oppressed them for nothing at all. There was nothing that Assyria had against us. So again, this is an example of many umos in the future that oppress the Jews for no reason at all. V'Ata Mali Ponom Hashem. Why am I waiting around? Hashem is kind of talking to himself. It's time to redeem you. Ki lukach ami chinam. My nation was enslaved, my nation was killed, my nation was tortured. Chinam, for no reason. Mishalav Yehalilu. or Moshlav rather, Yehelilu. And those who rule over them shall be made foolish and despicable, no Hashem. V'tamid kol hayayim shemi menayatz, because every single day that the Jews are afflicted, my name is degraded. Now again, this was a point that the Navi made many times before, that when Klal Yisrael is in a lowly, persecuted matzav, there is a chilul shem shamayim. There is a desecration of God's name, because the nations of the world will say that God does not have the power to save his people. So every day of golus and persecution, even though Hashem, for whatever the reason, decides that we need it, Hashem's name is desecrated. And lochein yeda ami shemi, my nation will know that I am the true God when I redeem them. Lochein bayaymahu ki ani hu amedaber hineni, I who am speaking to you through the prophets, hineni, I am here to be your God. Then the parak ends with these beautiful psukim. Ma navu al harim raglei mevaser. The Navi, in his mind's eye, is picturing Eliyahu Hanavi coming from the mountains, according to the Medrash, it's Har HaZeisim, being mevaser, announcing the coming of Mashiach. How beautiful are the feet or the legs of the mevaser, the announcer, coming from the mountains. Mashmiya shalom, announcing peace. Mevaser tov, giving tidings of goodness. Mashmiya Yeshua, informing us the redemption is here. Omer l'tzion malach Elokayach, who declares to Tzion, to Yerushalayim, to the Jewish people, Malach Elokayach, your God has now become king. He was always king, but now he is revealing himself. Kol Sofayach, the voices of your prophets, Nasu Kol Yachdav Yiranenu, will all sing together, because all of the prophecies have become true. It's not just empty words. Ki ayin be'ayin yiru b'shav Hashem Tzion. We will see with our own fleshy, earthly eyes that Hashem has returned to Tzion. Pitzchu rananu yachdav charvas Yerushalayim. As if the ruins of a building were alive. You ruined buildings, your desolation. Sing together to Hashem. Ki nicham Hashem amai. Hashem has comforted his broken people. Go'al Yerushalayim. He has redeemed Yerushalayim. Chosaf Hashem esraya kadshe le'enei hagoyim. God has exposed his mighty arm. This is a metaphor for strength. Zeraya Natuya. In front of all the nations of the world. V'ra'u kol afsei oretz eish yeshuat Elokeinu. And all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of God. And when that happens, Suru Suru Tsu'u Misham Tamei Al Tigo. Those of you who are impure, those of you who are corrupt, those of you who don't believe in Hashem, Suru Suru, leave the holy city. Tsu'u Misham, get out of there. Don't touch anything. Tsu'u Mitocha, leave. And he baru, no say klei Hashem. And those that carry the kalim of Hashem. Now this might refer quite literally to Kohanim and Leviim that will be carrying the Aron, or it might refer more metaphorically to those who are connected to Torah and mitzvahs. They carry God's tools in this world. He baru, they must purify themselves to be worthy of Geula. Ki lo b'chipazayin teitzeyu. When the Geula comes, you will not leave with chipazon, ubemenusa, and with swift fleeing, lo teleched. So here we need a little explanation. If you remember, when the Jewish people left Mitzrayim, they left Mitzrayim b'chipazon, that there was such a rush to leave Mitzrayim in the morning that they didn't even have time to let their dough rise. It only takes 18 minutes, and it had to be baked as matzah. And every year we are mechuyev to eat matzah on Pesach to remember the chipazon that we left Mitzrayim. Now, on one level, you would say, oh, that's a good thing, chipazon, God took us out. But chipazon is a certain chisaron. Chipazon actually meant we were not fully ready for redemption. In fact, we had to be taken out exactly that moment, because we are in the 49th level of Tumah, and if we would have stayed another minute, we would have hit level 50, we would have been irredeemable. Chipazon also meant that because God had to take us out exactly at that moment, we did not fully spiritually prepare ourselves. There were still pigamim, there were still cheschonot. And even though in the preparation of Matan Torah we transcended those chesronot, because of the chet ha'egel, it all came back. And the Chidushei Arim says, because we weren't misakein all of the chesronot, because we left with chipazon, we need thousands and thousands of years of golus to be misakein. So chipazon is a geula that comes prematurely, before you're ready. And therefore the geula will not be complete because there will be flaws and chesronos that were not fully eradicated. But Hashem tells us, Mashiach will not be that way. It will not come in a hurried way. We will have the time to be able to be ro'ei l'chach. You will no longer be fleeing like a person that has to get out this minute, or that's the end. Ki holech lifneichem Hashem. Hashem will be leading you to Geula. U'miasifchem Elokei Yisrael. And the God of Israel will gather you. And the Messianic process will be one in which there will not be the panic of chipazon, but there will be the confidence that we are ready for Geula. There are 3 more psukim in this perek, but it is so connected to Nun Gimel that I am going to start. When I do Nun Gimel, we will look at the last verses in Perek Nun Beis.